Hey everyone, Big Thinny Cringe Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a couple of track reviews. Yep, some brand new tracks are out and about. In fact, all of the tracks are out and about from the finally released, long-awaited, brand new Playboi Carti album, Music. Because Playboi Carti is, in fact, music, says it right there on the cover. Anyway, if you're at all familiar with the lead up to this album's release, you guys are already familiar with the fact that it has been pushed back again and again and again and again. Just to add insult to injury, just as it was actually going to come out, it got pushed back one more time several hours. You know, that's just a part of the Playboi Carti recipe. Just really keep fans hanging. And you know what? I am going to say, the album upon release immediately has already been kind of like living up to at least some fans' expectations in terms of like some of the surprises held within, one of which is not one, but two big fat Kendrick Lamar features on the tracks Backdoor, as well as Good Credit. And in this video here, I thought I would talk about both of those songs and sort of the greater implications of them given Kendrick Lamar's recent beef with Drake. I should also add, Kendrick does bring an intro and some additional ad-libs and background lines and stuff to the track Mojo Jojo too. Now, before I dig fully into that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this video, the good people over at Warby Parker. Let's go. Folks, it's 2025 and it's not uncool to wear glasses anymore. I mean, think about it. People in the 2010s were popping the frames out of plastic 3D glasses to make fake hipster frames. And now we have people who have never stepped foot inside a cubicle wearing glasses to attain the office siren aesthetic. So now glasses are an aspirational fashion accessory, even for those with perfect vision. So glasses are cool, and if yours aren't, that's on you. Enter Warby Parker. Warby Parker frames start at just $95. That includes prescription lenses with anti-reflective and anti-scratch coatings. And you can either shop for them online or one of their 250 different in real life stores in the US or Canada. And you can even use your vision insurance or flexible spending account to buy your glasses too. Every Warby Parker frame is designed in-house with skilled craftsmanship and premium materials. Like, check out my frames here. They're sturdy, they're stylish, and they suit me well. But if you're not sure a particular style will look good on you, you can take Warby's at-home try-on quiz, and then the site will give you some tailor-made recommendations to your style and fit preferences. And once you have your favorites picked out, you can try on 5 pairs on at home for free using either the QR code that you see on your screen right now or the link down below in the description box. Shipping is totally free. There's no obligation to buy. Again, click the link in my description to try on 5 pairs of Warby Parker frames on at home for free. And thank you to Warby Parker for sponsoring today's video. First off, before I get into the music on these tracks, let's talk about the greater context going on here. Because with these two songs, we're not just simply talking about a couple of hype crossovers, some unexpected features from artists that have very respectively different styles. No, we're talking about Kendrick goddamn Lamar, a guy who is deep in the midst of a very big victory lap at this point in his career off of the giant W that he took in his beef with Drake last year. And between all the tracks Kendrick launched in the midst of that beef, be it Euphoria or Meet the Grams or Not Like Us, there were some really consistent themes coming up again and again and again around morality, around being a creep and accusations and guilt by association, around Drake being accused of, you know, all the stuff that he is citing in his recent UMG lawsuit. All of this stuff we have covered in detail on the channel multiple times. You should be well aware, which is why I don't think it should require much explaining to highlight why it's kind of weird Kendrick Lamar would be doing these two features here with Carti on his new record. And sure, you could make the argument that Kendrick just made Drake out to be a bad guy on those songs and made the accusations that he did because it was a personal thing for him. He just wanted to attack Drake in any way that he could. Drake pushed it to a certain point. He pushed it further. Drake mentioned his wife, so on and so forth. Like, yeah, sure, I get that angle of it, but simultaneously, over the course of this whole thing, Kendrick Lamar also made it very clear that he does have like a personal moral vendetta here. He's made this clear in his recent interview with SZA. He's made this clear in that other post-beef track he came out with. Like, he clearly feels strongly about the guilt by association angle. He clearly believes on some level that there is some kind of like moral rot going on in the music industry, in the world of hip hop at large, and Drake in some way is representative of it. Like, Kendrick has made it clear in his bars repeatedly that he does not mess with people he finds morally reprehensible, and that being so on some level, in his eyes, means he thinks you should like die. I think I and many are just sort of wondering, why does he not share not even the same energy, but even like a modicum of a similar energy for Carti? Because, I mean, honestly, when you look at the man's past and record, he's not exactly a Boy Scout. Like, he has literally been credibly accused of putting hands on a pregnant woman. And furthermore, in regards to the Drake stuff, it's often obviously made light of the fact that, yeah, he got bullied into being a dad by Pusha T, which, sure, if you have a child, you should actually be in that child's life and raising that child actively, which is something that Iggy Azalea routinely says on social media Carti is not doing. Like, she has called that man out multiple times for having little to nothing to do with his son, which obviously I'm not personally involved in that man's life. I don't know if that is currently his status in terms of his dadly obligations. I just find it really funny how this behavior seemingly sticks to Drake in a way that is embarrassing and kind of like dogs him to this day. Meanwhile, it slides off of Carti's back like it just doesn't really matter. Now, look, with this video, I'm not personally making a prescription in terms of like what you, the viewer, the listener, needs to do, needs to listen to, needs to engage with, needs to avoid. Do and listen to whatever it is the fuck you want to do. I don't care. The point I'm trying to make here is that Kendrick, through his diss songs against Drake, has expressed morals and views that I'm just looking for a little consistency on. If you're hating on and distancing yourself from this one person because you perceive him to be bad due to behaviors X, Y, and Z, why not do the same with other individuals who also clearly have some issues? And I'm not just simply talking about Kodak Black here on his Mr. Morale album, obviously. I mean, really the only conclusion there is to come to at this point is that Kendrick Lamar, when it comes to the morals he puts into his songs and the ones that he throws in people's faces as a means of endearing you to him, he selectively applies them when it's convenient for him and most to his benefit. If it allows him to build on his popularity and get a leg up on a competitor or tell a certain kind of story and narrative, he embraces it. But simultaneously, if it prevents him from doing a collab with an artist that might actually benefit his numbers and his appeal, then he's going to look the other way. That's how it all kind of reads, honestly. And I don't know, from this point, hearing him make commentary on this front is going to be a lot harder to take seriously because of this. Because again, we're not just simply getting one little tiny quick random feature on a loose track or a song that was like, a demo. No, we have like 3 very obvious appearances on a new album from Kendrick Lamar on this Playboi Carti LP. The first of which we will get into, it is Backdoor. Spun this track a few times over, and I mean, it's different for Carti stylistically, but am I impressed with it generally? Not really. I mean, you kind of have like those really tinny, almost distorted perks that over time just sound horrendous. Carti is bringing back the baby voice a little bit, which I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be hyped for. And as far as Kendrick's contributions to the song, he's kind of given us those, sort of like lazy, laid back vocal harmonies and leads, which I know a lot of people have been digging on recent tracks, such as Luther with SZA, for example. Obviously, he's had a similar delivery on many a deep cut in the past too, and it's very tried and true style and sound for Kendrick. But is this like one of the best performances or, sets of melodies he's delivered on this front ever in his career? Not really. But with that being said, in terms of like the hook appeal of the song, the melodic appeal of the song, it's mostly Kendrick bringing that to the table. Like if he actually had a fuller verse on the thing, this would feel more like a Kendrick song than a Carti song. That is, if the weird chipmunk vocal chops in the background weren't fully giving Drake. This is like a Drake-ass instrumental. But yeah, it's rare that you hear something this easygoing and smooth and melodic from Carti. It's cool that he can pull it off, but it's not exactly, again, blowing me away. Good credit, I will say, in comparison, much more thrilling of a track. Distorted, aggressive, upfront, in your face, more along that die-lit energy, I will say, even though Carti is coming at it with a deeper, huskier flow, more of an explosive, whole lot of red vibe for sure. Also, kind of a versatile track for Carti too. There's like a key change in the midst of it that I didn't really expect. And the Kendrick feature does switch things up effectively on the back end, but I'll say in terms of like the cohesion of the verse and the flow of the verse, it's interrupted by a few different weird breaks. Like, yeah, it has some eccentric qualities to it, but it never really quite gets going and builds up any momentum. In fact, it sort of feels like Kendrick is trying to map over some of the chaotic energy that he showcased on GNX, and also, typically works up with Baby Keem when they're collaborating on a track. And, just bringing it to here on a Carti record, and which I think also is the case for Mojo Jojo to an extent too. And I'm not so sure it really works. It kind of feels like it's a forced chemistry on some level. And again, it's just very odd. One more time, I will bring up kind of like the morality and the, accusations and guilt by association element of all of this. In his verse, he acknowledges Carti as his evil twin, which at that point, I feel like you're just kind of throwing it in our fucking faces. Like, yeah, I'm collaborating with a guy who's a known dirtbag immediately after winning a Grammy for creating this giant moral panic around the biggest rapper out there right now, which, again, is kind of weird. That's a weird thing to do. Yeah, I mean, I will dig into this Carti record further, and I'm sure on some level these tracks will probably pan out to be highlights in this 30-song track list. But like, are they so good that they were really worth whatever kind of, inconsistent moral optics these tracks give Kendrick at this point? Not really, at least from the standpoint of somebody who actually thought on some level the content lyrically he was putting into tracks like Euphoria and Not Like Us actually meant something. But I don't know. Maybe they actually didn't. Let me know what you guys think of these tracks down in the comments. I'm sure you will. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Kendrick Lamar, Playboi Carti, forever.